So our last strategy in developing the promotional mix is channel strategies. So channel strategies are of two types, push and pull. As you can see in that picture here, pull strategy is where you show the promotional campaign or you direct the promotional campaign towards the final consumer. The customer then goes to the retailer and asks for the product that he has seen in the advertisement, for example. And then, because the retailer sees a lot of demand, because a lot of customers come in and ask for the product, the retailer goes to the manufacturer asking for the product. So that's pull, that's pulling the customer towards the manufacturer. In pull strategy, the manufacturer in the push strategy, the manufacturer pushes the product towards the retailer, that is, sells the product to the retailer. The retailer then sells the product to the customer through promotional strategies, like, for example, in store promotions. So here, the manufacturer is pushing their product to the next channel member in the line. So, and finally pushing it to the final customer. We'll try to understand this again through this picture over here. So A you see is push strategy. We're going to discuss about that first. So again, the manufacturer um, promotes the products to the wholesaler, and you see the dotted line over there shows the flow of promotion. So the promotion goes from manufacturer to the wholesaler, and this is mainly personal selling that's directed to the wholesalers or the other intermediaries, whoever is next in line in the channel. So next, wholesaler promotes the product to the retailer, and the retailer finally promotes the product to the consumer. So really want to push their product from manufacturer to wholesaler to retailer to consumer. Now you see the line over there. That's the flow of demand. So basically, it flows in the same direction as the promotion. So demand is created by manufacturer to wholesaler to retailer and to the consumer. And in pull strategy, the flow, the dotted line again, is it goes from manufacturer to consumer. So your flow of promotion goes from manufacturer to consumer. So you're going to promote through advertising mainly to the consumer, to the final consumer. And then the flow of demand comes back in the opposite direction, where the consumer demands for the product from the retailer demands it from the wholesaler, and the wholesaler demands it from the manufacturer. So that's pull. You're pulling the customer, and this is mainly the manufacturer is doing this. The manufacturer is pulling the customer towards themselves through coming in through various intermediaries. However, in the push strategy, you're pushing your product towards the consumer again through all those intermediaries. So this is the difference between push and pull promotional strategies. Generally, you have to decide which one to use. Do you want to use push or pull? But generally, the organizations and big organizations use a combination of both push and pull. So they advertise to the final customer so that the customer comes asking for the product, and they also provide some promotions to the intermediaries, so they push their products and they help the manufacturer, so that the intermediaries help the manufacturer to push their product to the final consumer. So we will just look at the definition here. Push strategy consists of directing the promotional mix to channel members to gain their cooperation in ordering and stocking the product. And pull strategy consists of directing the promotional mix at ultimate consumers to encourage them to ask the retailer for the product. So these finish our promotional mix. That's the target audience, the product life cycle, product characteristics, stages of the consumer journey, and channel strategies. You need to decide based on all of these what your promotional mix is going to be. So based on all of this, we have our activity number 13, which is about marketing communications of Millsaps. So what you're supposed to do here is you're supposed to comment on the communication strategies that Millsaps is currently using, wherein you're supposed to uh, um, list down all of the current methods that they are using right now. As it says, discuss all their communication methods one by one and provide reasons that if you were responsible for creating Millsap's promotional mix, would you continue with their current methods or would you change them? Provide reasons of your decision. And once you do that for all of their communication methods, which can be advertising, which can be social media advertising, television advertising, radio advertising, print advertising, so all different types of advertising. And this can be promotions, sales promotions, personal selling, publicity, uh, or direct marketing methods. Whatever method Millsaps is currently using, you need to research a little and see what all methods they are using. If you don't know about all of them, list down all of their communication methods and then say whether whether you would have kept those methods or you would have changed them, and provide reasons of your decision, whether it's yes or no. Provide reasons for both. Now, once you've done that, add a few more strategies for Millsaps to reach more potential customers. What do you think you would add if you were responsible for their promotional mix? What would you add so that they could reach more potential customers? Once you're done with that activity, we are going to continue. So we're going to talk about the types of advertisements broadly, about product advertisements and also industrial advertisements later on. But here, starting off with product advertisements, we're going to talk about all of these. The first one is pioneering or informational, which basically means that we provide some information about the product in that particular advertisement. So these pioneering or informational ads are the ones in which you are provided a description of the product, how to use the maybe how to use the product, maybe more about what's in the product, what are the ingredients that are in the product. Obviously, it would depend on what product we are talking about, but that is mainly meant to provide information about the product. Now, I would want you to go to YouTube and check this commercial if you haven't seen this ad. Please go and check for Amazon Go commercial on YouTube and come back. It's a very interesting ad, and you'll see how that shows us that that's a pioneering advertisement. That's an informational advertisement giving us all the information about Amazon Go. Please go ahead, check that ad, and come back. All right, once you're done with checking the ad, we go to the next one, which is competitive or persuasive advertisement. Basically, generally the ads that you see that are trying to persuade the consumers to buy their product, telling us their benefits, briefly about their benefits, not like providing detailed information, but just briefly telling us about their benefits by showing us maybe a story or something in the ad. Those are competitive advertisements because they're just trying to persuade consumers to buy their products. Now, specifically, there's one type of advertisement in competitive advertisement that's called comparative advertisement, where you literally compare your brand with a competing brand. For example, you see here it shows Smart Price and then not Smart Price. It's really comparing the furniture with Ashley Furniture. Value City is comparing their furniture prices with the prices of Ashley. So that's comparative, where you're literally comparing by taking names of a different brand in your advertisement. The next one is reminder or reinforcement. This is where you only want to remind the consumers that you still exist. And this is, if you remember, we talked about post-purchase consumer dissonance. This is, or maturity stage. This is where the reminder advertisements play a role. So these consumers have already, they are already aware of your product. They've already seen a lot of your advertisements. Now you only want to reinforce about them. So for example, and this is just for an example, on the left hand side, the picture on the left hand side, you see all that information. So this would have been an informational ad. The left picture that you see, the ad on the left that you see, an informational ad, an informational print ad. So you see this coming in all across your introduction, your growth stage, and once it reaches maturity, depends, I'm just giving an example. So once it reaches maturity, you know that everybody knows about this now, or knows about our brand. You're going to show just the right one, the right picture, which is ask your doctor about the brand. So that's basically because you know that consumers already know about your brand. You've already established it. People are already aware about your brand. Now you only want to remind them. Or if you think that you want to reduce consumers' cognitive dissonance, you show these reminder advertisements to show them that you still exist, you still are there, and your brand name is still there in the market. So that's what these reminder advertisements are meant for. Next is the institutional advertisements. These are designed to build a goodwill or an image for an organization rather than for the specific products or services that the organization sells. So this is for the general whole overall organization that manufactures those products, and not the individual products. That's institutional advertisements. Now we can have different types of institutional advertisements, and we're going to discuss them one by one. So the first one is advocacy. Here, you really advocate about the institution, your organization. You're not selling any products here. You don't tell consumers about the products that you sell, but you try to just advocate about your organization as a whole. For example, if you look at this advertisement, this is an advocacy advertisement given by Pepsi, where they say, imagine this is your car and you're in it. Drive safely, a reminder by Pepsi. And this message has nothing to do with the products that Pepsi has, the products that Pepsi sells, but they still try to give this message, so that they're trying to say to the consumers that this is who we are. We care about people's safety. We care about what choices people make. So this is the side that they have taken um, for a social cause, and that's really just talking about that just says something about their organization and doesn't have any details about the products that they sell. Similarly, another ad that is similar to this is, falls into the advocacy category, is the Nike ad where they featured Colin Kaepernick. I don't know if you have any idea about the story. If not, please go ahead and Google about it. That how Colin Kaepernick was featured in this ad by Nike. You can also watch this watch this commercial on YouTube first, and then what I want you to do is I want you to watch this CNBC video on how Nike turns controversy into dollars. Please type that in YouTube and watch this. I think it's a 6 minutes video. Watch this video and you'll see how advocacy works for organizations. Please see that and then come back to this video. Next is the pioneering institutional, which is similar to pioneering product advertisement, where you want to provide information to the consumers about the product. Here in Pioneering Institutional, we want to inform the consumers about some new products that have features that were not previously available. So, for example, this Adidas ad here, it shows bring in your old shoes and get cash off your new pair of Adidas. Time to change up. So that's kind of an information that they want to provide to the consumers about the organization, about some changes that they have made, or some news that they have to tell the consumers, and not really about the specific products, the features, the benefits of the specific products. So that's pioneering institutional. Competitive institutional is where you're competing with other organizations, not really about talking about specific products, but just trying to compete with other organizations. For example, Pepsi and Coke have had this war from a very long time, and they have been into competitive institutional advertisements where they want to compete with the other organization and show how they are better than the other. And then the reminder institutional, again similar to the reminder product advertisement. Here you try to remind consumers about your institution, about your organization, rather than specific products that you offer. Next is developing the advertising program. So in order to develop the program, the first step you need to do is to identify the target audience. So whenever you're trying to, if you did the activity already, activity 13, you know that you started off with all what Millsaps is doing right now. But you see, somewhere in your, and I'm hoping that somewhere in your analysis, you did identify the target audience, whether directly or indirectly. It was somewhere in your mind that this is how you should reach more potential customers, which are who are potential customers are the potential students. So you need to, the first step you need to do in developing the advertising program is first identify who your target audience is. Once you do that, you specify your advertising objectives. That is, what do you want to tell these guys? What is your communication strategy? What is it that you want to communicate to the consumers about? And once you've done that, you set the advertising budget. That is, how much will you be able to spend? And then you design the ad, select the right media, and schedule the advertising. And all these three points we're going to discuss more. Starting off with designing the advertisement. Now, when you're designing the advertisement, your focus would be on content creation, the message content, and then deciding on what content you want to put, and then creating the actual message. So here are a few, these are not all the appeals that we are discussing, but a few appeals that are used in advertising. The first one is fear appeal, where you would try to create a fear in consumers' minds and then try to sell your product. For example, you see the picture there, it says, I won't wear a helmet, it makes me look stupid, this guy had said. But then this guy met with an accident, and then that's how you're trying to appeal to the customers, by putting in some fear in their minds and then trying to sell your product. Next, you also see don't drink and drive, spare parts for humans are not as original as those for cars, again trying to build some fear in consumers' minds. Next is sex appeals, where you try to put in some sexual messages in there, try to give in some sexual appeal in the advertisement. It's generally done for colognes, um, but you can also see a product like Mr. Clean, a brand like Mr. Clean, also has the sexual appeal in their advertisement. If you haven't seen that ad, you can go ahead and watch that ad, Mr. Clean sexual appeal, and it'll probably appear on YouTube. So that's something that we can use in advertisements as well. And then another type of content is when we use humorous appeals. Please do not eat the billboard, or new old spice. All of these, when trying to put in some kind of humor in the advertisement. Once you have decided on the content, you can create the actual message. Once you have designed the advertisement, next step is selecting the right media. So we have different kinds of media available, and we have to decide which medium to choose. So you decide on a medium and a vehicle within that medium. So you can say that I'm going to go for television advertising. So television advertising is fine, but what program are we talking about? Which program are you going to select? So that's the vehicle that we are talking about. What is the vehicle within that medium? We want to choose, keeping in mind that we want to give exposure, maximum exposure to our target audience at minimum cost. So that's how we want to choose the medium as well as the vehicle in that medium as our uh, right media, as it says. Some basic terms that you should know when we're talking about media, these are the terms that are commonly used. Reach is the number of different people that are exposed to an advertisement. Rating is used for television or radio. This is the percentage of households tuned to a particular station in a market. Next is frequency, the average number of times a person is exposed to a message. That's how many times did this particular audience member, or a person watch the particular advertisement. That's frequency. And CPM, which is cost per thousand, is the cost of reaching 1,000 individuals or households with the advertising message in a given medium. So generally for advertising, we always say CPM, that's cost for reaching 1,000 households or individuals with that advertising message in a given medium. And the next is scheduling the advertisement. That is, when should the advertisement uh, be there? When should the consumers be exposed to the advertisement? And the schedule is can be of three types: continuous or steady schedule, or continuity schedule. Then we have flighting or intermittent schedule, and then we have pulse or pulsing or burst schedule. And you can see all of these here. Continuity is when you're showing a particular advertisement from January to December, for example. So on a continuous basis, this this advertising is running from January to December. Flighting is, it has an intermittent schedule, which means you show the advertisement from January to February, and then you stop, and then you go for more advertisements from June to September, and then you stop, and then you show another set of advertisement or the same set in from November to December, and then you stop again. So that's a flighting schedule where you just put in the advertisements based on maybe if it's a seasonal product, you think that this is where the consumers are going to need the product or going to buy the product, and that's why you choose that schedule. Or maybe it's a festive season and you want to just only sell your product during that festive season, then too you can use flighting schedule. Now, the most common one that is used by organizations is pulsing schedule, where you have a continuous schedule of advertisement going from January to December, but then you increase or you show a different set of advertisements from, let's say, February to May, and then again from July to August, based on the demand of the consumers, or demand of the seasonal demand, or any other reason that there might be. So that's pulsing, kind of a combination of continuity and flighting schedule. Next, once you have developed this advertising program, next what you want to do is you want to execute the program. Now, before you actually execute it, and this is a part of execution actually, you pre-test the advertisement. What does a pre-test mean? You conduct a test before placing the advertisement in any medium. You conduct a test of the advertisement to see whether it communicates the intended message, or to select among alternative versions of the advertisement. You want to see whether you want to go for this particular advertisement or for some other advertisements that you have as alternatives, um, because you want to see whether it communicates the message or not. So that's pre-testing. Next is carrying out the advertising program. Once you've pre-tested, it works, you carry out the advertising program. Once you carry it out, you go for post-testing. Now, these are the tests that are conducted after the advertisement has been shown to the target audience in order to determine whether the advertisement accomplished its intended purpose or not, whether it did communicate what it was supposed to communicate in the advertisement. So you do go for these post tests, and then you make any changes that are needed based on your post testing. So that completes our promotion chapter. And what we talked about in this was integrated marketing communications and promotional mix. We talked about push and pull strategies. We talked about product advertising and institutional advertising. And we discussed the steps used to develop, execute, and evaluate an advertising program. Now, I want to make an announcement here in our next topic, which is global marketing. We will not be having any PowerPoints. I will just be uploading a case on Course Connect, and I'll also upload a file that will give you an idea of what you're supposed to do for the case. You're supposed to analyze the case. You're supposed to write a summary of the case, and you're also supposed to write key issues and strategic recommendations that you see in the case. So that key issues will be the issues that you have found in the case. You think that these need some work, and provide strategic recommendations to solve those key issues that you have identified. So that's what you're supposed to do for the next topic. We will not have any slides or any lecturing on that topic. Just turn that case analysis in, which is for double activity points, that counts as activity 14 and 15, and you get 50 points for that case analysis. That's all. Thank you.